All right, y'all, before we start, because some of y'all be tripping, under the advice of counsel, I got to add that the views, thoughts, opinions that are expressed on this podcast are mine and mine alone. They do not represent my employer. All right, let's go.
Because I was like, damn, do we really want to get into this discussion? Because if we get into this discussion right here, y'all.
What's up, y'all? We are back for another episode of Ridgemont4'sFinest Finest, the podcast. And y'all, I got some special guests in the house today. It was hell trying to get these ladies all on the same schedule on the same day, just like my gentleman that I had on the last episode of season 1. But we made it. We did it. So today we are going to be talking about mental health in Black girls, especially in schools. And so today I have Lady D, who's a mental health therapist. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Got Miss T, who's also a mental health counselor / social worker. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we got Beaumont's finest, Miss Chris, over here, our school counselor. What's
Hello.
up, girl? All right, so thank y'all so much for coming in. And I know the schedule's been crazy, so I appreciate y'all so much. So let's get into it. So last week I made a TikTok, and probably months before I made a TikTok about Black girls and anxiety and how Black girls, their anxiety, their mental health was not taken as serious as their counterparts in school. And even last week when I made the TikTok, I'm like, Black moms, your Black daughters don't always have an attitude with you sometimes.
Or they're not being dramatic.
They're not being dramatic.
Right,
Sometimes
right.
it is just their anxiety, they're overwhelmed, they're all the things. And so I said that being a teacher has taught me so many things about parenting, especially when it comes to Black girls and my own daughter. And nothing in the world tests your gangster more than raising a teenage daughter that's just like you. Okay? So I'm having to parent the me in me, and it's just like I see everything now that my parents are talking about. And when my mom and dad laughed at me when they found out I was having a daughter after 2 sons, they are like, thank you, God, we hope you get everything times 10. And I didn't get it now, but Lord, do I get it now. But I want to just go ahead and get into let's go into breaking the stigmas and how we talk about mental health when it comes to diagnosing and treating Black girls with anxiety, depression, ADHD, and how we challenge those stigmas and any insights we can share for parents and educators dealing with those girls. I'm gonna start with you, Lady D, mental health therapist. So you see this often.
All the time.
So let's talk. Let's go.
So yes, very much so see it all the time. I have a teenage daughter myself,
Okay.
as well as being a school counselor for many years, and a private practice now. And what I often see is exactly what you said. It's not an attitude, or if it is an attitude, it's not intentionally an attitude. Often there's so much going on inside of our girls, our Black girls in particular, that they don't have anywhere to talk about it where they feel safe. They don't have anyone who they think they can relate to. But what I tell them is if you try to talk to your friends, you'd be surprised how much y'all have in common, but y'all are keeping so much in for fear of being weak, for fear of being misjudged, misdiagnosed, anything like that. So what I encourage parents, please be patient with your kids.
Oof.
I know it's tough.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
When I had someone ask me when your daughter rolls your eyes, do you punish her? I was like, she would just stay on punishment.
Right.
We punish our children for rolling their eyes, but social anxiety is very real, and I've heard since the quarantine, COVID, more and more of our girls in particular are saying how they suffer with social anxiety, and the fact that they even know the term, and then they start talking about these trauma bonds they have, and I can tell which. Too much too soon.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
we gonna get it. Oh
I'm
man,
gonna slowly get into it.
We
but
gonna get into all of that. Yeah,
it's very real, and I think it's very helpful that our Black girls in particular now are doing more research to figure out what anxiety means, what it looks like, what depression is, so that they can talk to more people about it.
Because think about it, back when we were young, we didn't have that. So anxiety, what?
What is that? Oh, anxiety, them dishes. That's what I always say.
Girl, you better go sit down and do something.
Right.
Like, pray about it.
Right. Or it was always perceived as attitude.
Yeah.
Right.
Always. I know with my schools and teachers, and sometimes even my mom, who's now learning through my daughter, like, dang, maybe I could have done some things differently, 20, 30 years ago. That is just things that, like you said, they have going on, and there's no other outlet. They don't know any other way to express it but to just get it out.
Right.
So
I think and I have this struggle with my own mom. Even when I express, hey, I think I'm going to go see a therapist, she was like, well, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing is wrong.
Right.
Self-improvement. You know, you don't have to always go to a therapist when
Just
something's
because
wrong.
something's wrong.
But I just see that the generation before me, my mom and, you know, her sisters, it was always pray about it.
Yes.
God's going to get you through it. And love the
There's
Lord.
nothing wrong with
the
prayer,
Lord
but-
is like, the Lord is great. But you also have to do the work. And I
Right.
learned that in a lot of the trainings that we go through as school counselors,
Yeah.
that there's work behind anxiety, there's work behind depression, there's work behind social anxiety, and I think that that's kind of the stigma, especially in Black women. Like, you're strong,
Yes.
Right.
you could get through it, but what?
Push through.
But what am I supposed to do to get through it? Don't just
Right.
tell me to get through it. You have to help them, and so I think that's one thing that I make sure to instill in the students that come into my office, that there's work. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
So.
And that's just a reference back to what you just said. Faith without works is dead,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
Yeah.
it's like when it's like, okay, well, pray about it. Yes, prayer is good. However, there are things in place so that we can do the work to get
Right,
to a
the
better
action
space.
behind the prayer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I think that's important to know, like when we talk about resources and things that parents even need to know, because a lot of parents are raising their daughters how they were raised
Right.
and how their grandmothers raised them and their mothers. So it's generations of, I'm just doing, you know, I turned out fine, look at me. And it's like, nah, sis, you ain't fine. You really got some jacked up ways. So I think a lot of that is teaching the parents, you know, what resources can we have available to parents to help them better understand and better be more patient with their daughters when they're going through that. But let's go back to school, since everybody has had their school experience or their experiences being in the school system, rather. Something I notice often, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't really see the whole anxiety thing. I didn't even know that was a big issue until maybe about 10 years ago, maybe. And that's when I moved to the other side of the tracks as far as education. I've always taught in, you know, certain demographic areas. And when I moved to the other side of the tracks, I'm getting 504 paperwork that says
Anxiety,
social anxiety.
right.
And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right.
Like, what is this all about? But it was only for a certain skin
Group
tone.
of-
It was not, I was not
Not
seeing my
us.
people
Right.
with this. And so I'm looking and I'm learning, I'm dealing with the kids, and I'm like, wait a minute. That's the same thing that Keisha is going through, but Keisha doesn't have paperwork, but Molly has paperwork. Okay.
Or Keisha's paperwork is different because it's more disciplinary.
It's more,
and
yes,
often to be
absolutely.
punished.
And that's
It's a-
because
it's a
they
BIB.
criminalize
Yeah.
our behavior. So it's like, okay, you see Keisha, and Keisha's exhibiting symptoms of anxiety, but because it's not looked at as anxiety, it's like,
Looking
okay,
at the
well,
attitude.
She's
right,
getting a referral
right.
for
Def-
This is-
Defiant,
yes, you're being
non-compliant.
defiant.
Then
But
that's-
from my experience in the school, there's a fine line with
Right.
anxiety. I think sometimes in the 504 meetings and anxiety is thrown in, I'm like, is it anxiety or is it your kid being a kid, you know? Or is it really anxiety? There's that fine line. And I always respect it. Regardless of what the parents bring me, I'm going to put that in. That's
Right.
what the doctor said, so that's what I'm going to put
Right.
in, and I'm going to put
Right.
the accommodations that go with that. But there's a fine line. And then you have the extreme, like a student that I've experienced where it's almost too far gone to even
To pull them. Yeah.
reel it back
Yeah.
in. And then you're just kind of like, you know what? I think it's above my pay grade, you know?
My last year in the school system, like working as a school counselor, the number of times that students throughout the day had panic anxiety attacks
Right.
was literally, I was being pulled left and right to talk students out of, just help them work through a panic attack. But it wasn't even just the students, then it became the adults,
The adults,
too.
yes.
So pulling for teachers or administrators or whoever to help them through a panic attack. So we got to the point where I asked my administrator, can I actually do a professional development to teach the teachers to recognize
yeah.
panic attacks and help the students through it? Because it was
That's
too
good.
many, too often
Yeah.
for one or two school counselors to
to
be able to work
handle.
through it.
That
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
let me say that. The PDs that we give or the presentations that we have to give at school, I think that they're beneficial, but I think that teachers also have a million other things that they're being thrown at the beginning of the year, and they're sitting in mine and they're like,
Yes.
Another box to check.
Like, you know,
Until the child is having a panic attack in
And then
their
and they're
class.
calling me.
Right.
And they're calling
Right.
me. I get that.
we called you yesterday.
right.
We did.
Right. And it's,
I tried.
You did. I was very proud of you.
Thank
I
you.
was very proud of you. You did great. You had great empathy.
Thank you.
Because sometimes at the end of the day, my empathy cup is like
It's
It's empty.
empty.
Yeah.
and then I have to still remember
And
I
then
have to
who
go
fills
home.
your empathy cup?
Right. I got to go
Right.
home and deal with the toddler and
Yeah.
a adult toddler. So
Right.
I have nothing by the end of the day.
Right.
I feel bad, but I mean,
Yeah.
so I signed up for these kids need
Right.
somebody. So.
So I know when you made something. So I know so we're going to go off topic because it's just something just do. You said the adults, right? And I was going to, let me see. My daughter is 13. When I was working at this particular school, she was not even 1 year old. But that was the first time. That was when I was diagnosed with like having some type of anxiety or panic, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was having a heart attack. I didn't know what was going on. But I was at this school that I hated. When I say I hated this school so much, I would wake up in the mornings and I would be like, my chest would be hurting, my stomach would be hurting. I didn't know what was going on, right? And it would be when I turned on the street of this school going to work, I would pull over and throw up. Didn't know what was wrong. Didn't know what was wrong. One morning, I was getting ready to go to work, and I just felt like I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And my husband at the time was like, "Nah, let's go ahead and go. Something is not right." And so went, and my doctor's like, "Yeah, you're having a panic attack." I was like, "I don't have no panic. I'm black. Like, what you mean? I'm a black woman. I'm a mom of 3. I can hold it down. I'm this and that." Yeah, here we're gonna give you this little 100 milligrams of this little pill.
Yeah.
Meds, I don't need that. Like,
Right.
we don't do that in my house. We don't do that in my family, just black women. We don't do that at all. But it wasn't until I got away from that school that I was able to even feel some type of
breathe.
relief. And so now, like you said, parenting my own daughter and being a teacher to these kids, I now downplay nothing with them because I know what it feels like to, hell, sometimes they're crying and you're asking them what's wrong and they don't know.
They have no idea.
And
They have no
the
idea.
number of times my students say, if I'm having a panic attack and my parents start fussing at me while I'm having the panic
Right.
attack, what's wrong with you? Stop crying. And of course,
And that's
they
just
start
gonna
panicking
accelerate
more.
it.
And that's
Right.
the attitude that
Right.
we
Yeah.
say.
Yes.
You got an attitude. Who you raising your voice at? Watch your tone.
And they're
it's
like,
like-
I don't know. And
Yeah.
the parents just fussing at
Yeah.
them. I'm like, oh my goodness, please, parents, stop fussing at
Yes.
the babies and just listen to them.
And so they have no safe space. Home isn't a safe space
Right.
because the parents don't get it. And then school isn't a safe space because they're looked at as being defiant, having an attitude, or, oh, they're just being dramatic. They just want attention, you know? And it's like, no, I need somebody to listen.
Yeah.
listen,
And when you have a
understand.
great listener, like I'm going to say you're a great listener, then you're bombarded with all the girls that want to come and talk to you. And not to say that they don't all, because everybody has their own different issue that they're dealing with, whether it be a school issue, a friend issue, or something that they're dealing with at home that they feel more comfortable talking to you about than they do their own mom or their own, family. You're like, well, dang, I can't have all 30 of y'all in my office and I still got a job to do. So it's like, what do you do?
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
Looking around like, what's the answer? Y'all know?
so you know how meticulous I am when it comes to calendaring and
Right.
like my planner and
Yes.
everything. So I make sure to calendar in those kiddos that I know, hey, let me check in on this ball of anxiety over here because I know she's going to a math class that she doesn't think that she needs to be in. Let me check on this baby who has experienced extreme trauma and grief and the teachers don't understand him, and I have to go in and check and be like, hey, that's my baby. Before you go there,
Right.
before you go there with him, just send him to me.
Right.
And so I think how I deal with it is I put out the fires before they start at the beginning of the day. You know, checking in on those kids, see how their
Preventative,
temperature is,
yeah.
and go to that math teacher who tends to set kids off and be like, hey, today he's not feeling it. Just let him bring his work to my office and work in my office.
And it's taking a proactive approach.
Right. So
Yeah.
putting out putting water on the area
Right.
so that the fire doesn't start like kind of
Then they
Wet
get
in
a
the
little
wood.
spoiled too, because now it's like they walk in, good morning,
Boy.
it's 8:01. Can I go to such office? Baby,
Like, wait a minute.
good morning. How you doing? I need you to listen down and try first. But it's like automatically they know this is my safe
This is
space.
a safe
And
space.
so if you want me to be productive, you want this English paper written, just go ahead and send me downstairs and let me just go
Just
do
give me
it.
a few minutes. Right.
Like, all right, okay.
I
What do
looked
you,
at
what
it
do
like
you
a
do?
lot of prioritizing and triage.
Right.
It's who needs what, let's do this,
Right.
like you said.
And I tell them, I'm like, you don't have to come in here and talk to me. If you just need a second of quiet, fine with me. I don't have to talk because I probably need a second of quiet. Right. So just come in, sit down. That's fine. I'll turn my lamp on. You can lay on my little couch that I didn't put together, and I'll do my work. And
you have a space.
And you have a space. But I always tell them, you're not getting ready to stay in here all day.
Right.
Yeah.
You got 10 minutes, and you got to go. Because I have a meeting that I got to do, and somebody out there crying, and somebody's grade's not right, and I got to file a 4 meeting, and that parent calling because their kid got an 89 and a 90 class, so you got 10 minutes.
And that's why boundaries are important too, you know, because otherwise they'll be in there with you all day.
Yeah.
Every day.
You remember that last one last year?
My God. My God. But okay, so now we're going off topic again. But listen, so going back to the one last year, and that's going to get into. No, we're gonna pause her when we talk about that section, second section, because that's going to be a whole segment. That little mama herself. But I want to go back to something you said about like parents not fussing and parents listening, and again something that I deal with because I now can recognize when I am overwhelmed. I can now admit it, you know, being a black woman, like, hey, I need a minute myself. I'm overwhelmed at the moment. I got too much on my plate. That when you are already overstimulated yourself as a teacher, as a mom, and you now have to parent, right? So my mom has this thing. She's like, when your children talk to you, listen. I don't care what you got going on. You got to suck it up and listen, because the fact that they even want to talk to you is something. And, you know, you just never know what they're going to say in that moment, right? But I have this rule with my kids, and maybe I need to adjust, but I have this 15-minute decompression rule, right? Because I'm a teacher. I hear my name get called all day, every day, from the kids and from the adults. My classroom phone, I'm the lead, so my phone rings all day in my classroom. I got people coming in and out my door. I am overwhelmed and overstimulated.
I'm always at your door.
Yeah, you are. But at least you're coming with positivity, so it's not that bad.
Half the time,
yeah, that's true. But when I get in the car and my kids know, give mommy 15 minutes in silence, and then you could tell me all your problems. But sometimes my kids are like, nah, I got to talk now. I need this. And I'm just like, I'm driving and I'm at the wheel, like I'm shaking, I'm tweaking like a little dope head, because I'm like, please, I can't. But I have to be like, because I have to listen, because I don't know. But I'm like, I don't care about the 7th grade drama right now. I don't care about the little boy that you thought liked you, but he likes your friend. Like right now.
Imagine a toddler.
Oh,
imagine a toddler.
I couldn't.
Mommy, let me spell you something.
Like, please, like, give me 15 minutes. And even when I go home, I'll tell them, like, I'm still trying to decompress from teacher mode. Right. Like, let me go in the room. Like, can I get my bra off before y'all start telling me all y'all wants and needs? Or the what's for dinner? And I'm just like, guys, let me go in the room. It's like Superman Clark Kent, right? Let me go in the room, shower, get in my bonnet and my moo-moo. And then when I come back out, now I can be your mom. Now y'all can all dump on me. Right. But then I got 3 of them. And everybody want to dump at the same time. And everybody's level of dumping is different. I got 21, 16, 13.
Oh, bless it.
I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah. I had a lot of thoughts when you said all that. First, when you get in the car, that is, from my perspective, prime time to talk to your children. Because once you get home, you might lose them to their room and not see them anymore. And so if they only have 5 minutes, 3 minutes that they want to just dump real fast, but you don't have the capacity for it in the moment, you might have missed that opportunity. And if it happens repeatedly, they're going to think my parent does not have time to listen to me, so they start internalizing and don't talk to you anymore. And then when you want to talk, they're like, then they got an attitude. So it is really tough, because we as the adults, we have to find a way to refill our own cups. So even if it's like first thing in the morning, when my kids were younger, when we were driving to school every day, we would pray together first thing in the morning. So if when they get in the car, if it's, y'all, let's just take a moment, 3 minutes to just sit and decompress and think about the positives that happened in the day before we start talking. I mean, somehow just incorporate.
Right.
We all need a moment.
Right.
I want to hear what you have to say. Let's all just take a moment. Because I do worry if I take too much time. Is the story even relevant anymore?
Right.
Have they just already compartmentalized or just internalized, Mommy really doesn't care about what's going on, so I'm just not going to talk to her.
Man.
It's tough now.
Not you making me feel
or even basically because we weren't available in that time and space. Now they're using an unsafe outlet.
Yeah.
Now they're venting to social media. Now they're going to, their peers, and it's like, I could have taken that time.
Wow.
It's not just you, because
No,
my
me
kids
too.
know. I'll be like, I just need 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm overstimulated right now. And I mean, it happens, and then sometimes the day goes on. It's like, okay, what do you need to talk to me about?
Right.
Oh, it's okay, mommy. No.
See
it's
that?
not. No, it's not okay. Come
But
back. Come
then
back.
it makes me, when you said that, it made me think like, I'm no longer married, but I know all y'all are. But oh, you're not anymore. Sorry. Okay. But just think about how we are with our spouses or our partners,
Yeah,
right? If it's, I think it's the same concept. If it's something that you want to talk to your husband about immediately, but even in his mind, because we forget that black men need the same
That's
mental
absolutely.
grace that we do.
Absolutely.
And he's just like, hold on, babe, give me a second. And he comes back to you 20 minutes later. Now, what you said? And
Don't
you're
worry
like,
about it. Don't worry about it. I'm good. It's the exact
it's the same thing. So
It
when you
is.
said that, it made me think like, dang, I really do need to be more. And again, I'm doing it, but I feel like sometimes, am I really receiving it? Am I just doing it because I'm obligated
Right.
to do it? Am I really receiving what you're saying? Because as you're talking, I'm really trying to 10, 9, 8, 7, like calm myself down because this is not what I want to do at the moment. Or sometimes if I'm driving home and I'm listening to Frankie Beverly and Maze, and it's on the part where I'm about to hit that note, and here you go, mama.
like this was my girl. I just start that song over. Like,
I pause and I say, yes. And then she's like, why you got an attitude? I'm like, I can't win. So, but that made me think of that when you said, I guess we have to get the same grace we would want someone to give to us if we had something that was urgent to us at the moment. Because I think about sometimes things may not have been urgent to our spouse. If I want to come home and tell you about that lady that pissed me off today at work, and his mind, probably, I'm so sick of hearing about this bitch. I don't want to hear about this lady anymore. But in the moment, that's important to me. And for you to not want to listen to me in that moment is going to make me feel a type of way. So thank y'all for that. That makes me
real fast. So
understand.
since you had, for the parents of multiple children also, though, so you can find time. If you're in the car on the way home with one child, that's your time with the one child. When you get home, it's the other child who you get. Maybe there's another child while you're getting dinner ready or whatever another activity is that you have to do, pull the other child in, just so they each have time, and you don't feel like, I don't have time for none of y'all. I just need
In
to
other
take
words,
care of
take your
myself.
birth control.
That's the moral of the story.
Man, because it is hell trying to juggle 3 different emotions, 3 different personalities.
That's real.
At different stages.
That's wild. Because even with my 21-year-old, I'm like, bro, you grown, but he still's like, mama, let me tell you about this girl. I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to hear. Like, but I have to listen. So let's go to talking about something I think is a huge issue. It was a huge issue for me when I was a teenage girl, and something that I'm dealing with my students and daughter too. Body image. Like, oh my God. I know me, I was developed very, very early, right? And it made me so uncomfortable in so many different levels or stages of my life. I hated PE class. I remember being in the 6th grade. I can remember this boy right now. If I call his name and I get sued, I would. But he teased me relentlessly. I had very large breasts in the 6th grade. And when we had PE back in the day, we had PE. Like you had to, even as a 6th grader, you had to get up, you had to go put on your PE uniform, be dressed out before the bell, back in the gym in your spots,
Right.
and do your 10 minutes of calisthenics, whatever they call it, warm up before you get started with the lesson. And I will never forget this PE teacher at the time. Everybody got a day that they had to get up and lead an exercise. And that was like your grade, like a major grade. So throughout that cycle, you had to get up and lead an exercise. And I'll never forget this man. I hope he riding in piss right now. But
I'm riding in
piss, okay?
In piss.
But he knew that these kids teased me about like any exercise that dealt with jumping or running because I had large breasts, and the boys would be like, ooh, this man called me up to lead jumping jacks. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die. Okay, that's why I said I hope he's the right one. Okay,
Yeah, 'cause that's not okay.
Yeah, and so I think about that, and then of course when you become 18, 19, it's like, girl, you were blessed. And I'm like, nah, what you see as a blessing, I hate it. So for so long, I hated that I was overly developed, because I'm looking at my peers and I'm like, well, you're so cute and petite and, flat or just, you got little buds. And here I am looking like a damn 20-year-old at the age of 11 and 12 years old. And then what do you get from that from other women? oh, you fast, you this, you that. And I'm like,
you think you?
I'm literally a kid. I don't have anything going. But I see that that's something that we're dealing with a lot of our girls too. Like they're developed too fast and they hate it that their minds have not caught up with the way that their body is developing.
Right.
And then their friends don't look like them. So you got somebody that's, 11 years old and they're already 5'7" with, all the other extra features. And that's shutting them down mentally. So what have y'all seen or noticed about body image? And
So in just you talking had me thinking about, just back when I was in high school, I think for me, it was always the dark skin, light skin thing. And I remember, the, big butt, big boobs, but I don't think that I remember it being as big as the dark skin. Then when I went to college, then it became, the way you were shaped. And I am up and down. Like I don't have but I feel like I always had like the yellow light skin thing going, so that's the mentality that I had until, you mature and you realize that that's really not what I need to focus on.
Right.
But with the girls now, I feel like just seeing the junior high kiddos, regardless of whether, they are round or, big boobs, big butt, they all just want to have these crop tops. And, and I think our dress code also is an issue, although I tried to change my mind frame. Oh, baby girl just has a little bit more extra. And I tell them that, like, they get dress coded for something that a skinny, a smaller girl might not be. And I have to tell them, I'm like, I understand. I know you're upset. You feel like you're being picked on because you have these tights on, but they're joggers on. They're joggers, but they look like tights. But she has the same thing on, and they look the same. I'm like, baby girl, it's just I think it's more society for them, and it just sucks. And seeing the Instagram models that they see, and it's just like, and even sometimes I get caught into it. I'm like, man, I wish my ass moved like that. I wish it moved like water like that. But it's just like, it's just the society that we live in, that you see perfection on social media, and that's what they aspire to be. But they don't understand that this girl don't wake up with a 32-inch middle part bust down and her face be, she waking up with the same bonnet and big oversized shirt that you got on. So I think it's just all that. And then the amount of lace fronts that I see and wigs on, I'm like, man,
kids.
Like, it's exhausting.
So much of it
it's
is
just
what you said, the social media and seeing
influence.
What's out there. Because if they're not, say at school they're being isolated or being picked on because their boobs are too big or too flat or for whatever reason, they go on social media and see what's out there. Crop tops. That's being accentuated. The butts are being accentuated. Well, let me do what I need to do to
Waist
accentuate
beads.
the right areas. And then
I'm
they'll get
getting
attention
likes
from
on this post. Oh, okay.
what
I'm
they
doing
have to
it.
do. So if their peers aren't giving them attention with the big breasts and the big boobs, somebody's giving them attention. And that attention might feel good, even though it's inappropriate attention. So they will continue to accentuate the areas where they're going to get the attention.
Because that's where they're getting the validation.
And I think when we go back to dress code, I'm always getting in trouble because I am the rule breaker when it comes to dress code. Because I just feel like, baby, I got other stuff to focus on. I'm just so happy to have you sitting in my classroom. I don't care if you got a hoodie on. I don't care if you got a crop top. And I guess in my mind, I'm thinking, ain't nobody looking at you. You a kid. So just sit down. I'm like, girl, you look cute today. Come on, let's get this lesson. And I think that we do put too much focus on dress code in school or trying to police what these girls wearing, but we're really policing their bodies. And I feel the same because it was done to me, and it was done to me as an adult. There's nothing like working for a principal, and I hate to say it, ladies, I hate to say a black woman who you look better than or physically, and they will make your life hell. And so I remember working for this one principal. I make videos about her often. I always say if I see her on the street, it's on site. But I remember one day she had a faculty meeting after school, and she did this dress code, like a fashion show dress code thing, right? And she kind of just had images of certain teachers and what they had worn, but not their faces out, saying how it was inappropriate, or is this appropriate? Yes or no? And wanting the people in the audience to scream out yes or no. But when it came to the melanated skin sisters, the things were not inappropriate what they had on. It was how they were shaped and wearing what they had on. So it reminds me of that. I don't know if y'all know that Tommy Sotomayor, whatever his name is. Anyway, hates black women. I don't know what his mama did to him, but he hates black women. And he did this post last week. I think it was a teacher who took a picture of herself and put it on Twitter. Like, hey, it's Meet the Teacher night. And she was kind of standing there.
By a board.
I
saw that.
And she was very cute.
There
She
was
had
nothing wrong with
on
what she
like
had on.
some pants but she had a big butt, nothing that she could help. And so he's like, is this who you want teaching your kids? Black women are more worried about their butts and da-da. And it's like, damn, she got on
Like,
some
she
pants and a
can't stand.
blouse. She literally has on the
Right.
pants and in a blouse. But that's how a lot of women think the same thing. And so, you got this big old discussion that went off about black women are only concerned about their butts, or this is who we got teaching our kids, or, oh, this is what the national teacher crisis shortage brings you. And I'm like, how the hell can you gauge her credentials by what she has on? Then she had on some sandals and she had a tattoo on her foot. And I don't know, I'm looking down at the tattoo on my foot right now, and somebody zoomed in and it was like, I wish I would walk in and see my child's teacher with a foot tattoo. And I'm like, what?
Are we supposed to be clergy? None? Like, what are we supposed to be? Like,
And what about all of the white people out there getting their butts implanted?
Yeah,
and
right.
we don't talk about that, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but it's a problem when we do it, and
Black women do it.
and so I'm like, man, they really are. But so that's why I try to not hone in or focus on dress code when it comes to black girls, because I know how it feels to just like, damn, I literally have on some jeans and a t-shirt, but because I have a butt, hips, thighs, and breasts, it's like, oh, who you trying to impress? Who you think, So I try not to do that to the girls. And because I know it makes them uncomfortable. We don't like talking about that.
Yeah.
But it makes those girls at that age so uncomfortable when you bring attention to their body. And even with my daughter, I have to, and I'm not doing it to be mean. And I might say, oh, okay, girl, you wearing them jeans. And she's like, Mom, chill. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's awkward. It makes them feel uncomfortable bringing attention to their body. So, but then, now I'm going on a tangent. Then we go to the damn volleyball games. Oh my God. Listen, y'all, I can't take it.
I don't understand why that's necessary.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Especially.
But where's the line, though? Like, where's the line? Like, so it's like, it's the stuff that they have on in middle school and even high school. I don't remember wearing.
We did not.
I don't remember wearing that. So I think that it's a fine line. Like, where do you be like, no, you're not going outside in that, But then they wear similar, not the same, but they wear similar things to school, and then we have to say, you
No,
can't wear this.
you
So
can't.
where's the line? Like, where am I supposed
Which
to be?
is why they're confused.
Right.
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to be an adult?
Even
like,
like
where am
pep
I?
rally days, we tell the kids, oh, your skirt has to be 3 inches or whatever, put your arms down. But then we let the cheerleaders walk around with the skirts that go, because they're cheerleaders. And I think that is so crazy. But what makes it super weird to me is, like, I'm going to say volleyball game. Like, we had a volleyball game this Thursday night, and my daughter is tall. My daughter is, unfortunately/fortunately inherited after her mother. And so I'm at the very top of the bleachers, but it's a packed gym. And I'm like, all I could think of is, why are these shorts up your ass? Why are these shorts? I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. And so we get out off the game, and me not thinking before I think I did say good game or whatever. But then my next question was, what's up with them shorts? Is that y'all final uniform? And she's like, yeah. I said, I don't like it. And she's like, Mom, please don't start. But that's all I could think of was like, who was in in the bleachers looking at my kid?
baby.
And we don't ID parents when they come through the door for games.
So you don't know.
You don't know. And I'm just
Right.
like, I'm that's all I could focus on while I'm looking at you try to serve and jump and spike and all that is, why are these shorts up the crack of your ass? I can't take it.
But it's
So
true
again,
with the line.
where's the line?
Because
What do I like?
what do you
It's
say?
like if I had a daughter and she wanted to wear this, I'm like, no, you're not going out there like that. But then
But then
all
it's
her friends come
acceptable.
to the house and all of them have that on. Like, do I let her wear that because I don't want her to feel isolated? I don't want
Right.
people like, oh, your shorts are
Right.
too long. Like,
Right.
why you got on those granny shorts? Like,
Yeah.
where's the line?
Man.
And then how do you do it without body shaming? Because
Yes.
it's not how
It's
our
not-
daughters are built. It's
Right.
a whole bunch of pedophiles
It's
and
the-
inappropriate
exactly.
people out there
There
who
you
are
go.
taking advantage.
There you go.
So
And then you just want your child to be a child. Like, I tell these
I
kids
want
all
my
the
kids-
time, like, the vaping in the back, like,
What are we
you're going to
doing?
have a great time in college. Save it. Like, you don't have to do that right now. You don't know how
do
to
it
spell.
then either. Listen
You
to
don't
me.
know.
Don't do it then. You end up with a 21-year-old. But no, you're absolutely right. And I again,
Like, be a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Kid.
Yeah.
Be a kid.
but again, learning so much from you, just learning so much. I have to say, you know what? Line. Let me pick my battles. Okay, your shorts and your crop top. Okay, that's fine. You look beautiful. Let you, because everybody else is doing it. So why should I tell her because she's shaped like this that she can't when she's going to the mall or going to go hang out? You know, am I going to tell you to put on a muumuu and some Jordan 1s just because I don't want people looking at you?
But I encourage conversation, so have a conversation about it. How do you feel when you're playing in this outfit? And if they have an issue with it, then perhaps they take it to the coach versus the parent taking it directly to the child, or even going out to the mall, hanging out with your friends. How do you
Right.
feel when you're dressed like this? You feel good about yourself? You feel confident? Great.
Yeah.
If not, then let's talk about it. Why do you feel the need to dress like this if you don't even feel good about it yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's all about conversation with parents, with teachers, because I have a 3-year-old, and I make sure that he understands when he's in trouble. He understands why mom snaps. Because if I snap, and I realize, I come back and I'm like, hey, sorry, mom had a really long day at work,
Right.
and I'm sorry I stepped on you. Like, apologize.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing with teachers and parents.
Absolutely.
But teachers, it's like, kids deserve apologies. If you were having a bad day,
Absolutely.
even the next day, they're like, hey, I'm sorry that I snapped on you yesterday.
Right.
I was having a bad day. I realized you were having a bad day, and we both we weren't a match. So apologizing and explaining, this is why you're getting in trouble. I understand that this was your choice, but choices have consequences. And so you learn from it, but that doesn't negate the fact that you have this consequence. And I think that's where we might be feeling as
A
black,
culture. Yeah.
the black
It's a
people
cultural thing.
and parents is I either get parents who ain't answering the phone or parents who think that their child is an angel when at school. You
It's
would
like,
think,
not my baby. No.
seriously,
Not
Yo,
my
baby.
like seriously,
No.
Yeah, baby.
you know. So it's just, and I see so many different situations coming in and out of my office, and I'm sure y'all do too. And it's just like, man, where do I start? Where do you begin?
Right.
Like sometimes, like I said, it's too far gone where all you can do is like hold the
Yeah,
baby. Like
that's
it's
it.
just like
That's it.
You just got to listen, and they're gonna have to make their own decisions, you know. But I don't know. It's
You said something, excuse me, you said something that was, it's basically keeping the lines of communication open, but what happens when you have some parents, black parents, and teachers as well, it's like, no, I don't have to talk to a kid. That's a kid.
Oh,
You
but
in a child's place.
I think it's the generation that raised us because that's how they are. You know, I even had to with my own mom. I told her, I was like, Mom, you think when somebody disagrees with what you're saying,
You're being
you think I'm being
disrespectful.
disrespectful, and it's not. I'm just
Right.
an adult now, and I'm voicing that I disagree.
Yeah.
And we can agree to disagree.
Right.
So it's that. And even sometimes I find myself like, who are you talking to? And he's 3, you know, like don't and just I had to get out of the when they say yes, like waiting for that ma'am, because I was so
Yeah.
used to
because that's how.
Yeah.
and I realized that a couple years ago that I have to, because I really did, was
Yeah.
like, yes, what? You know, but that's my mama in my head. So if you say yes, that's fine. I had to tell my own mom, like, I don't make my son say ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like he said, yeah, okay, whatever. You at least you answered me.
Because
So,
let me tell y'all who's not here for that. Gen Z.
No.
They are
No,
not.
not at
So
all.
they are not all
Not
the
at
things
all.
that we
No.
were raised to do and our parents put on
No.
us. Gen Z's like, whatever.
And if we want to
gonna do our
have a
thing.
relationship with him, we have to
You gotta conform.
compromise.
We gonna have to.
like, is that really the battle that I want to fight?
Yeah,
No,
it's not.
No.
I think I know one of my kind of norms when we start the beginning of the school year. I just don't like. I don't like yeah. It
got
depends
you.
on how you respond. Like
Right,
if I
yeah.
call your name, yeah, and you want to say who the fuck you talking to? But I have to bring it back, and I'll just say yes, it's fine. You know, again, you don't have to say,
You
or
don't
they'll
have to
say
put the ma'am on
There's
it,
always
but-
there's always a line. It's like yes, it's just being. It shows respect.
and acknowledging it. Like I
But
acknowledge,
yeah, it's like
I'm bothering you or something. I don't like
my
that.
bad for breathing. Like,
yeah,
you know.
So I always tell my kids, like if they say yeah, I say huh, yeah, huh. And they'll say, oh, my bad, yes, ma'am.
Autocorrect.
And I say, oh, you don't have to say yes, ma'am. I say, yes, it's fine.
Right.
You know, just to let them know. Now, if they say it, that's fine, but I don't force them to say yes, ma'am to me. But I don't like the yeah.
That's how I feel with what?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, I don't
I don't
do
do
that.
what?
No, I don't think. But
No.
is that?
I mean, my mama.
Like,
Right.
Our parents, you know?
Right.
But is it a hill I want to die on, like you said? I think it's something that's an easy self-correction. And that's a part
Right.
of us setting boundaries as, you know, women or educators or
Like
whatever.
you're not getting ready to get punished for
No,
right.
what?
not at all.
I don't like it. And I
unless
think
you are really like,
Yeah.
you push the
You
line.
doing it
not going
intentionally.
Right.
But
But I think that's a boundary that we're setting when we talk about policy and procedures, or just learning your kids' personalities or your students' personalities and them learning you. Like, hey, first day, I don't respond to what I don't like. Yes. So that's something, I'm not going to disrespect you. I feel disrespected when that happens. So let's try it this way. And I think if you say it respectfully, it's like,
Then
oh,
it's-
my bad.
Right.
And then sometimes they self-correct. So they may say, yeah, and oh, my bad,
And then
miss.
they remember.
Yes.
Right.
Cool. We good.
But these
And we can move
kids are
on.
dealing with 7 teachers
that have
with
different
7
personalities.
different
Yeah.
rules in their
Yeah.
classrooms.
Yeah.
And we did it, and I didn't find it hard. Because we were raised with the yes ma'am, no ma'am, and the respect,
Right.
and that's how our teachers were. But now we are teaching kids who do not have the same ideals of what respect is, and some of them come in. I give you the energy, you give me, and I'm like, you
Yeah,
can't.
that's
Like,
true.
like I
That's
get
true.
that. Like, okay, matching energy, but I don't think a child can match energy with an adult.
With an adult.
An adult shouldn't be trying to match energy with
That
children.
part.
That's
But unless you me, because sometimes I be, no, I'm joking.
We have our moments.
sometimes I be on my petty shit, but no.
We have our
But
moments.
Because that one at our school,
yeah.
We got to get to that one.
No, this is a
This is
new
a different
Oh,
one.
this a different
This is a
one?
brand new one.
Oh.
That shot the gate.
I told the principal, I said, if she go low, I'm going to hell.
We're not going high.
She's
We're not going
something
high
else.
with this one.
We.
That's why I think day 3 with that one, I was like, you know what?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
She only deals with a certain member of administration, and I'm cool
Oh.
with that. Like, I've never done this to a kid, and you can attest,
Right.
I've never not tried.
Right.
She made the counselor that.
That's what,
Yeah.
like, that's
and for her to do that.
That's
So I haven't encountered this baby, so I've already said, like, I have to make it my mission next week to go get, she's not
And
on my
meet-
schedule.
Okay.
But I have to make her my project. I just have to. And you know, that's my teaching personality. I draw
That's
all
that's my
that's me.
personality
Yeah.
as a counselor.
Yeah.
I draw all of them in. So everybody that
Yes.
nobody wants to deal with, they're my baby. So
Yes.
it's my mission to go get her. Cause like, girl, you are not gonna rock around here thinking you run this. But it's trauma. It's trauma from wherever she's come from, and she's here in this new environment. And
No,
it's like,
she came from somewhere of a different skin tone
Yeah.
that allowed
Okay.
her
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
what she wanted because they didn't want to deal with it.
and they were
So
scared.
she got away with the things, but she came here, and our
And it's
principal was like,
nah, we not doing it.
no.
This is
Yeah,
what
we
we're
not
not
Like
doing
she
that.
came and said, yeah, I made everybody cry.
Yeah.
you're not finna
That's
make
not
it.
happening over
Yeah,
there.
that's what she said. So I
That's
think
cute.
when
What she did over there.
Yeah, when she was told, like, girl, ain't nobody over here finna cry. So I kind of joked. I said, baby, if you ever see me crying,
It's
up in
because
this
I'm trying to
camp,
hold back.
you better send me home. Like, it's not gonna be good. Send me to the house because it's not gonna be good.
Like she came in with the energy of,
She was proud of it. Was she?
Absolutely.
she said, and why everybody at the school gotta tell me good
Yeah, tell
morning?
me good morning. I was
Oh
like,
no.
what? But I'm telling you, those are the babies that I'm like, baby, I
Bring 'em.
cannot wait to break. I'm gonna break you by
Yeah.
October, and
Yeah.
you know you're going to love me by October. You're
Not
gonna
me.
love me, not you.
You know?
I'm gonna take it because she's interesting. But I will say this
curious
also.
about this little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this also. I teach English, but the teacher, she's not on my roster for English, but the teacher she has on the roster for English is one notorious for not playing with kids. Okay.
Okay.
And so she tried, I think the first day of school, the first day she was there, she tried it with that teacher thinking like, you got to
Let me
test the
push-
balls
right,
of each one
right.
of these people. And baby, you got broken so quick. And so now that teacher is, yes ma'am, no ma'am.
Oh,
I didn't
that's
want
the
to,
one.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to, I didn't mean to yell. I said, well, how the hell? But I think it's about how we're presenting. This baby doesn't seem to respond to friendliness like that. I think you have to be friendly with her after you've gotten her in.
After, yeah.
So it's almost like you have to be strict and
demanding
stern.
before the warm.
Yeah, but I think, and I know it's wherever she came from, but if you tell me she was thrown in wherever she came from, I'm gonna say trauma because my next question is how the hell did you end up over there?
I mean, that's my next step with that one is figuring out why.
Yeah.
The why. Because
It's a why. It's
Yeah.
definitely
It's
a
a
why.
why.
There's
But I need to get the mom. I need the mom to come to the office and talk. Like I need that because
And
I
if the
need
mom
to
doesn't
know.
come to the office to talk, then,
Then what?
That's the why.
Because
Exactly.
what's our rule? What's the black golden rule? We'll go on in my house, stay in my house.
stay in my house.
Exactly.
Don't
Talk
you go telling my
business.
business.
Exactly.
And so, and that's probably something that the mom has learned and this baby has learned too. Like, we just don't talk our business.
But mama
Something is
tiptoeing
there.
too. I'm not tiptoeing in my own house.
Mama tiptoeing, yeah, she's scared. That's why I say it's trauma. But like, once you break that wall, it's going to be gravy. I can't wait. I'm excited.
All right, let me know how it goes.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm excited. I'm excited. So, but when we talk about, I'm gonna go back to something that you said, Chris. You said adults sometimes feels like, or no, you said that, Missy. That's a kid. I'm not engaging with a kid. I'm not apologizing to a kid. I'm not doing that. And I feel, and again, this is the rebellious teacher in me, right? And trying to raise my daughter in the same way that's bite me in the ass. But I tell kids all the time, you definitely have a right to express your disagreement with something.
Absolutely.
So me as an English teacher, let me show you the appropriate way to do that, either in writing or verbally. But these are the words that you use. This is the tone that you use. But I don't ever want my kids, and so I'm trying to teach my students the same thing, not to feel like they have to accept being disrespected, because
Right.
kids, it's too many educators that feel like it is okay to disrespect children because they're children. And I don't deal with that. I don't like that. And I don't want my kids to be disrespected. And so I'm going to tell her, these are the ways, if you feel like you're being disrespected, these are the ways that you can respond. Now, do you do it and show in front of the class and show your ass in front of the class? You absolutely
No.
do not.
Right.
You can definitely send an email later on to say, hey, Miss So-and-so, I didn't appreciate this, or this is how this made me feel. Or if it's getting, like, my daughter has had to have a situation like, I'm trying to be nice in class, but you keep picking at me. Now I'm about to give you a show in front of everybody because that's what you wanted. And when the teacher calls me and I'm listening, because I don't ever want to be that parent that's like, well, my baby said.
Right.
So I'm listening. I'm like, well, damn, the little girl sound like she did everything I told her to do. You took her there.
Listen. So I just had a conversation with my kids too. So I have a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old who's about to start junior high. Lord bless it.
Bless
I
you.
need like healing
Bless
hands
you.
right now. But like, we're huge. My husband and I are huge on like telling our kids to advocate for themselves. Like, we teach them to be self-advocates, and of course we're going to be their advocates as well. It's the same way that I was with my students, or I am with my students. But what happens when that self-advocacy is looked at as being disrespectful? Yes, we give them the words to say, but it's like, oh, well, he's arguing with me. Oh, he's talking back
They're
to me.
combative.
They're being combative.
I hate that word.
And it's like, I'm listening to what you're saying. And it sounds like he was just wanting to, he asked if he could stand up and work, as opposed to, why is that an issue? Well, you're going back and forth with me, so that's that's not a problem. So it's like, when you're dealing with these different teachers or parents also who are like the talking back.
Yeah.
Basically, they look at self-advocacy as talking back. So
And
how
that's
do you-
subjective.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking back. What is talking back?
or your tone.
Ooh.
That's the one that gets it.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't like his tone. I don't like her tone. As women, as Black women, we have to deal with that
In the workplace, yeah.
In the workplace, if you're not smiling, oh, she has that. You're having a good day. Yes, I'm having a good day. Just because I don't have a smile plastered on my face doesn't mean. But the girls, oh well, your tone. No, I just was assertive in what I was saying, and so yeah.
I think as far as what we tell the kids, and I have a toddler, so just what we teach our kids at home versus what they actually do at school,
right.
because we don't know. We tell them, and you assume, but
they
we
have
don't
their
know the tone.
influences too, right?
Right.
I can hear my kids saying that, but I can hear them saying it how I told them to say it. Now, what came out
What
of their
actually
mouth.
happened?
So it's kind of like, again, another line.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah.
like, believing, my kid probably said that, and I'm a huge advocate of, let's pull this kid in.
Right.
And let's have the kid and the parent and the teacher there, so we can all say what we thought we heard, what we thought we said, because parents sometimes involve themselves too much.
That's true.
Yeah.
That
You
is
know,
true.
no, let's let her say it. What did she do?
Yeah.
You know, what really happened? So I think that is important to remember because teachers are always getting the parents who are, my kid would never do that. My kid would never do
Not
that.
my baby.
Right. So let's figure that out. Self-advocacy for sure,
Yeah.
but self-advocacy correctly.
Right,
Then
right.
I think
Yeah.
if you advocate for yourself enough, I tell the kids, okay, if you feel like this teacher is just not listening, you have to find
Then
a
let
trust
an
adult. Let me
adult
deal with it.
deal with
Come
it.
and find me
Yeah.
and let me do it. Because let me approach the adult and let them know, okay, this kiddo has trauma. This kiddo doesn't know how to deal with authority because of this. This kiddo has like issues.
Right.
And so there's a different route that you have to take with kids.
And like you said, the trusted adult, and this goes back to what you were saying about the stigma. Sometimes you'll hear kids say, I know when I was teaching, I would have kids, well, I don't want to go talk to the counselor because I don't trust them, or
they
they
don't
don't
look
tell
like
my
me.
business, or they don't look like me, or I don't want them to go, okay, can I come talk to you? Well, sometimes teachers
get
have
it.
to be that safe
Yeah.
space,
Yeah.
you know, and that's that, and I think that is okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's that stigma, and then you also have what you said earlier too. What happens in my house stays in my house, so the kids don't want to talk about what's happening
Yeah.
at home because they fear they're going to get in trouble or have that retaliation.
Yeah, I think what I know is another part of my first day of school procedures when I'm going through my syllabus and I'm telling the kids the importance of communication. And I always make this disclaimer like, hey, I'm a teacher that you can always come and talk to, but
Yeah.
let me let you understand something. Depending on what you say or write.
That's smart,
If
Brett.
it's something, I got to go tell them people.
Absolutely.
So I want you to always feel like you can come talk to me. And really, I'll be like, please don't talk to me. Please don't talk to me. But if it's something that I feel, you're in danger, you're in danger of harming yourself, whatever, I have to, by
I have
law,
to.
report it. And I tell them I love y'all, but I ain't going win Harris
Yeah.
County orange for none of y'all.
No.
So I think that's also sometimes a deterrent too, because now you have kids that are really having these issues and they're scared like, damn, it's like a rock in a hard place. I know this is probably not the best place for me, but if I tell somebody, I don't know where I'm going to, I know I'm going to
don't
be
know what's
removed
gonna
and I don't know where
happen.
I'm going to go.
Right.
So do I just steal and, deal with the devil I know or what? And that writing, and we talked about this on another episode, when we're getting kids to write, we have to be so mindful of
Man.
that triggered
That's
the incident yesterday.
It is like I just want to go into ELA
Yeah.
planning and be like, please,
yeah.
don't have them talk about an influential person, please.
Or like it's so we have to walk that line because the
'Cause
kid
that can open the door.
is and that's
So
that's the
much.
incident that we had yesterday. It was a very simple writing prompt, and without getting too much in detail, it was a trigger
Set
for
her
this
off.
baby, and this baby had a meltdown. Now y'all know me, well y'all know, but I am not a toucher. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger. I'm not that person. So when kids walk up and want to touch and hug, I'll be
like-
like, ugh, I freeze up because I'm like, don't touch me. And even them, like they tease me because they're like, can I have a hug? No, don't touch me. Like, I'm not that person. So, but I'm a mom also, and so I know
Right.
that my mom genes will kick in, and so this baby was having a trigger in another classroom,
Based
and
off
so
of the writing.
that teacher was like, "Hey, come get," like they always come
Yeah.
get me. I'm the hallway mama. Come go get her. So I went to go get her, and she's melted down. So I'm like, my first reaction was to hug. I'm like, girl, this a new shirt. You
But that
snotting
nurturing
on my
spirit
shirt.
said,
I'm letting her
hey.
snot. I'm just rubbing her back
Yeah.
and letting her cry. And because we had the training the day before about empathy,
Okay,
I knew to say
You did a great job.
She had a loss, and so I had to say,
Man,
I can't
I love that
imagine
so much. I
I
love
can't
that so much.
imagine how you feel right now, or I'm sorry you feel that way. And then I had to, if you had the same experience, I said, I too had this happen to me, and this is how I felt. But I can't tell the kid, get over it, it's going to be okay.
No,
they're in a better place. I learned. Even though I was on my phone during that PD,
I know you were
I was
listening.
on TikTok like a
actively
bug,
listening.
but I was listening. And it's my ADHD. Y'all had too much stimuli going on in the room at the time.
Yeah.
So I had to lock in on something that got my
That was the
attention.
best. That was a real eye opener when we had to do the
Grief training. Was it that? What
So
was it? Yeah.
we had to read a book, When Children Grieve.
Okay.
And we just learned. I learned again. I keep bringing in my mama, but the things that you are not supposed to say when somebody passes, and you can apply it anywhere. But
Right.
this is for kids because we're school counselors.
Mm-hmm.
But saying, you're strong. My mom loves to say that. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not strong.
I'm
not strong. Right.
I may be
right.
strong, but that doesn't negate the fact that I'm sad. So please stop trying to tell me, oh, yes, I know I'm strong, Mom. I know that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I can't be sad. That doesn't mean I can't feel. And then my mom loves comparing. Well, imagine somebody like when I just had my son, and she's like, well, imagine the moms with twins. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. And so they went through all the things that you're not supposed to say when somebody is grieving, whether it be a loss of a person, a job, divorce, whatever. And then I'm like, well, shit, what am I supposed to say? Like, I feel like I've been being a terrible counselor because, like at least they're in a better place.
Yeah.
At least
you had so much time with them.
Think about the good memories. No.
And then like the biggest one is the time heals all. You just have to give it time. In the overall perspective, yes, over time, it doesn't hurt as much.
But you don't want to hear that.
But it's not the time that heals. You can't just sit and wait. It's the work over time that part that heals. And so telling people that is detrimental to them. Yeah. Because they think, okay, it'll stop. But saying, I can't imagine how you feel. How painful this is. And like you said, if you had an experience saying, I can't imagine, not I can, I can't imagine how you feel when I lost whatever, I felt this way. Right. So you're not telling them like you feel the same because you don't know.
Because you don't know. Like, you're not that person.
Deep the grief is. But you know that you have felt some sorrow because you've been in the same situation. So when I'm talking to kids, I try not to immediately like, okay, well, when I did this or I experienced
making it about centering yourself.
Let them talk, let them get it out. And then when you get into the suggestion part and like, that's when you can be like, well, this is how I grieved whenever I experienced what you've experienced. This helped me. Right. Not saying you have to do it, but this is what helped me. So
I think that's why I'm such an advocate for true trauma-informed teaching, not the bullshit professional developments that they make us go sit in for a few minutes just to check their box. Yeah. And then I also believe that true trauma-informed instruction, you have to be culturally competent. Like, there's no way that you can be a truly trauma-informed educator if you are not culturally competent.
But I think having 100% cultural competency is literally like asking to go outside and watch a pig fly.
It is.
Like, it's just impossible. You're not gonna see it because there are people in the mind frame that I am culturally competent.
Right.
I know.
I've already done.
In their minds, their favorite thing is, well, I'm culturally competent. I teach at a Title I school.
Right.
Like, girl, shut
or
up.
I am
I'm
whatever
black.
the ethnicity is. I'm black.
So I understand their struggle. Me not even realizing that we all have different struggles. We all have different privileges, and so I can't
and biases.
Yeah. And we have biases.
So there never will be, and so this will be a continuous cycle in the way that education, the route that education is in right now, with just like replacing counselors with priests, and, things like that.
That's just a whole different conversation.
We talk about mental health and we like, these kids need help, but then you take away a stipend for counselors that are coming to the campuses and
you outlaw social emotional
learning. Right. But the head football coach is making six figures and I'm over here
getting by.
Now y'all know they hate me when I start talking about them football
because that's
they hate. Maybe they gonna send the hate mail back to me when we start talking about football coaches. But we gonna get into their asses this season too, though. Anyway, we already got them lined up.
And crying real fast.
Please, yes, I was gonna actually go.
Oh man, good cry is always good. Like,
because when we were talking about being strong, and even like. My kids are a little bit older, so my son went off to college, and it was hard. So it's a different level of grief, and
empty nesting grief.
Not quite, because I still have.
Oh, okay, sorry,
but but some are there, and we cry. Like I have a group of moms, and we cry when our kids left, and people are like, "Why? They went to a great college, and you raised them with all of these things. But you can be strong. You got to be strong." Well, why is crying not strong?
Why is that
anytime you
weakness?
shed a tear, it's just considered a weakness,
Weakness.
whether it's for males or females. We're just not encouraged, especially in the Black community, to cry. So
Yeah.
One of the things that we learned in that training was isolation. Like, don't, and I have, again, to bring up my son, I had to get out of the frame of, okay, go to your room. When you finish crying, you can come back.
You could do-
like,
yeah.
you have to encourage people to cry in public, or, you know, if they're right there, like, you don't need to go grieve in isolation. So that's the whole thing.
That's
like,
something we told my daughter too. It's like, okay, you can have those. You could be out here.
Yeah.
with it. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to have it. You don't need to go in there.
That's so
by
healthy. I
yourself.
love healthy
Yeah.
Black parenting. It's so refreshing from the generations of trauma that we've seen, or the kids that come in, and we know that they're not allowed those things, or not allowed to be that person at home. That we're doing that for our kids. And I promise you, I'm telling you, teaching middles and high school kids has allowed me so much perspective.
So much insight.
Like, man, this is what I need to do, because I've seen what happens if you don't, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want this situation. So let me be patient. Let me get myself out of this. Let me not center myself in this and how I was raised,
Yeah.
and go
so
for
much
it.
we have to remind ourselves that we're the adults.
Yes.
This happened just a couple of weeks ago with my daughter, gearing up for back to school. And the hormones come out big time, especially with our Black teenage
Yes.
girls. And we're on vacation. And I'm thinking everybody should be happy because we're on vacation. But we got back from vacation on Tuesday and they started school on Thursday. That's high stress in and of itself.
Yeah.
So my daughter was in a mood a lot of the vacation. And me and my son were like, what's wrong with her? And I had to check myself.
Yeah.
It's not about me. How are you doing? I can tell she's not in a good place. What is hurting you? Is something wrong? And then gave her moment, gave her her time. Then the next day I asked her, do you realize when you get into a mood like that? Can you tell you're attitudinal? Is there anything that you can do to stop it? She said, I can tell I am. I try to. I don't want to be like that. She said, but something inside of me hurts. She said, I don't know if it's my heart or my spirit, but something just hurts. And I was like, whew, I'm glad you shared that, because when you're in the attitude, it just seems like, just leave me alone, stop talking to me.
Right.
We get an attitude too, because we're like, we didn't do anything.
I didn't do
wrong.
it.
I'm on vacation, spending money. You ungrateful.
Right.
Da, da, da. Yeah.
But then I had to check myself
Yeah.
and then just be open and listen to her. I'm like, okay, you're right. School's about to start. I'd be high stressed too if I was about to start school,
Yeah.
and there's a whole lot going on. So we're going to breathe.
But just understanding that there's a pain, and I think that's
Yeah.
important when we talk about what can we help our parents with identifying. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But when parents need to identify when their child is anxious, or when their child is stressed, or when their child is depressed. So even the fact that she acknowledged as a teenager that something hurts, I didn't acknowledge that until I was hurting, going to a job that was about to kill me. That, oh, it's a hurt, it's a pain, and I can't explain it to you because it doesn't hurt, but it's like a dull pain, agitation in me. But it's not. It's throwing off my spirit, it's throwing off my mind, and it's putting me in a mood. And so it may be perceived as attitude, and it's really nothing. It's just, I don't even know what's wrong, and I don't know how to express to you that I'm hurting, but I'm not hurting, but I'm off.
Right.
I think
It's so much.
the understanding the person that is receiving your attitude, and then it also is with you. And what I learned
The
that these kids
self-awareness.
don't understand is the why.
Yeah.
So this teacher made me mad. No, the actions that teacher affected you, and you are choosing to be mad. So I think instead of saying you made me mad, no, I didn't make you mad. What I did caused a feeling inside of you,
Right.
and you chose this emotion.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I have to like drag that out. And I learned that again from my toddler, because I made him mad because I didn't let him play on his tablet. And I had to explain, no, mommy didn't make you
mad.
choose to
Right.
do this. I didn't make you do anything. You're choosing to be mad. You're choosing to be sad, but we have to figure out why. And I think that's
Yeah,
where
that's good.
instead of parents dealing with the mad or the attitude, you have to deal with the reason of why, and explaining to the kiddos how to get there, like taking the merry-go-round around.
And I think also, real quick, I'm gonna get to you, then we're gonna wrap this segment up. But again, rebel me, right? I always say we don't give these kids enough credit for being as intelligent as they are.
And self-aware.
Yeah, we love to say
Yeah.
Gen Z is this, Gen Z is
I
that.
love Gen Z.
But listen, these little kids,
They know.
they setting it off.
Self-aware.
They are self-aware. And
Yes.
so I think it's a huge issue for a lot of educators who are not ready to come to grips with the fact that these
change.
kids are so self-aware. And so they can I think that a kid can say, this teacher made me mad, because that teacher probably did do some shit to make them mad, and they're expressing it. But when that kid expresses to that teacher that you made me mad, I talked on another episode about this particular teacher that my daughter had a hoodie on her head because she had my daughter's natural big afro, and I think they had to go outside for athletics, and that afro shriveled up, and it was just a terrible hair day. So she had a hoodie on. Yes, you know you breaking the rule. You know you breaking the rule.
Right.
And the teacher walked up behind her
And don't. No.
and yanked it. One of your colleagues.
Mine? Oh, God.
And yanked the hoodie off her head, right? And so
No.
now, because you didn't give me the respect or the courtesy of saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and take that off, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm about to come at you.
Because you're
it's
crossing
physical.
a
You crossing
you
a boundary.
skip some steps.
You skip
crossing
some
a
steps.
boundary.
You
Right.
skip
So
some
her
steps.
first response to you was like, I don't appreciate that. And I know my mama wouldn't appreciate, because your mama upstairs with her food last. My mama wouldn't appreciate you assault me. It's basically what you
Put your
did.
hands on
Yeah,
You
put
put
your
your
hands
hands
on
on
me.
me. And so my daughter is like me. Like, once you rip your jaws, she done. Ain't no coming back. My daughter is not a spin the block type of person. We're working on that, right? But my daughter is not a spin the block type of person. So days after, the lady was like, okay, Michelle, it's over. Like, let's let it go.
No.
And Michelle was like, bitch, no, we not letting it go. Like, and so then it turns to her being the victim. Because this is what they do. I promise you. It turns to her being the victim. Now Michelle has an attitude with me every time I walk by. I
You
tried to
pulled my hoodie off of my head.
I tried to say good morning to Michelle, and Michelle won't speak to me. Baby, Michelle,
including some hair, though,
yeah,
right? Like,
and hair.
sorry.
Yeah, you remember? Yeah,
I think
the hair.
When
Nah.
hoodie was pulled,
The hair was
of course,
pulled.
was in.
But you the victim.
You the victim now, because
okay.
now Michelle has an attitude. Michelle's not talking to me. I tried to say good morning to Michelle, and Michelle won't say good morning. Michelle is never going to speak to you again.
That's it.
Like, let me just go and
That's
tell you
it.
right now. So if you're going to be a victim and you're going to center yourself and use your weaponized WW tears, it's a wrap, baby. Michelle is never, and Michelle does not have to. Because if I'm teaching Michelle, well, it's just forgive her. If she didn't mean, no, you did mean
No.
it. You absolutely
knew
meant
what
it,
you
because
did
in that
when-
moment,
yeah.
you felt powerful. And so now when we know, if Michelle says, I don't fuck with her, Michelle, I don't mess with you. And I understand it, because now your mama don't mess with her either. So, all right, let's wrap this segment up. We got to get into the second segment where we got to talk about our favorite little girls and some other stuff that they got going on. So y'all sit tight. We're going to come right back with segment 2. This podcast was made possible by producer extraordinaire D. Francis at the legendary Lab 7 Studios in Mo City, Texas.